So let me ask you this. Have you ever wondered why some people with the exact same job and income as you seem to be building wealth so much faster? I know because a few years ago, I was sitting in that same position, looking at my bank account and thinking, what am I missing? Well, in today's video, we're breaking down exactly how normal people, not Wall Street, not millionaires, are using Financial Growth Academy strategies to completely transform their finances. By the end of this, you'll know the step-by-step approach to start growing your wealth faster than you thought possible. Most people don't even realize that the first and biggest obstacle to building wealth isn't their paycheck, their bills, or even the economy. It's their mindset. The way you think about money shapes every single financial decision you make. For so many, the problem is that they view money as something that disappears the second it's earned. They see it as a temporary resource, a tool for paying bills, grabbing a coffee, upgrading a phone, or buying something to feel a little better in the moment. That mindset makes money feel scarce, and when you feel money is scarce, you treat it carelessly, believing that no matter what you do, it will never be enough. This is why people live paycheck to paycheck even when they get a raise, because the way they think hasn't changed. They earn more, but they spend more. The problem isn't income, it's perspective. The solution begins with flipping that perspective and adopting the mindset that every dollar is a worker. Instead of thinking of money as something you trade for stuff, you begin to view it as a resource that works for you. Each dollar you save and invest becomes an employee that goes out, does its job, and brings back more money. This change in mindset shifts the way you prioritize. You start seeing the long-term benefit of holding on to money, of putting it to work in investments, instead of instantly trading it for short-term satisfaction. Once that mindset takes root, the way you look at every decision changes. Suddenly, buying a brand new phone you don't need doesn't feel like a treat. It feels like firing one of your best workers. That awareness stops you from chasing lifestyle inflation and keeps you focused on building assets instead of piling up liabilities. For example, imagine two friends, Alex and Ryan, both making $50 a year. Alex thinks about money the way most people do. He spends freely on new clothes, subscriptions, and takeout. Every time his paycheck hits, it's like a reward he gets to enjoy. At the end of the year, Alex has nothing left to show for it. Ryan, on the other hand, treats money like employees. When his paycheck hits, he instantly sets aside 20% into investments. Instead of buying a $5 coffee every day, he brews it at home and puts the savings into his brokerage account. Ryan doesn't feel deprived. He feels empowered because he knows his money is working for him. Fast forward 10 years, Alex is still stressed about bills, still hoping his next raise will solve his problems. Ryan, with the same income, has built a six-figure investment portfolio that earns him money whether he works or not. The only difference is mindset. Ryan understood that every dollar is a tool, and by leveraging that mindset early, he put himself on a completely different path. This is why Financial Growth Academy emphasizes mindset first before diving into numbers and strategies. You can't build lasting wealth without first rewiring how you think about money. If you don't change your perspective, you'll always find a way to spend more, no matter how much you earn. But once you start thinking like Ryan, viewing money as workers, not just cash, you create a foundation where every financial strategy finally clicks and sticks. The second major problem most people face is relying on traditional saving methods that sound responsible on the surface but actually keep you broke in the long run. For decades, the common advice has been simple: put your money in a savings account, maybe open a fixed deposit and keep it safe. While that advice might have worked 30 or 40 years ago, when interest rates were higher and the cost of living was lower, today it simply doesn't work. The issue is that inflation quietly eats away at the value of your money. You may feel secure watching your balance grow by a few dollars in interest each month, but in reality, the purchasing power of that money is shrinking faster than the account grows. People who rely only on savings accounts often end up shocked when they realize that after years of saving, they can't actually afford much more than they could when they started. It's the illusion of safety without the benefit of growth, and that illusion keeps millions of people stuck financially. The solution isn't to abandon saving altogether, but to redefine what saving really means. Instead of just parking money in a traditional bank account, you treat savings as a temporary holding zone before that money is put to work. This means keeping just enough liquid cash for emergencies, maybe 3 to 6 months of expenses, and channeling everything else into investments that grow faster than inflation. It could be index funds, real estate, dividend stocks, or even side business ventures, but the key is that your money is no longer idle. By shifting from a mindset of save for security to invest for growth, you protect yourself against inflation while actually building wealth. The modern version of saving isn't about stacking cash in a vault, it's about letting your money multiply in the background while you live your life. Take, for example, someone like Sarah. She's a teacher earning $45,000 a year. For years, she followed the traditional advice. She diligently put $500 a month into her savings account. After 5 years, she was proud to see about $30,000 sitting there, but she realized something troubling. Prices for groceries, rent, and gas had gone up significantly during that time, and her $30,000 wasn't worth nearly as much as when she first started. That sinking feeling made her look for alternatives. Sarah decided to keep $10,000 in her savings account as an emergency cushion, but redirected the remaining $20,000 into a low-cost index fund. Within the next 5 years, despite market ups and downs, her investments had grown to nearly $35,000, while her savings account barely added a few $100s in interest. The difference was night and day. Instead of her money sitting idle and losing value, it was now compounding, multiplying, and securing her future. This shift illustrates why traditional saving methods can hold you back. They create a false sense of progress but do nothing to grow wealth. The modern approach requires thinking differently. Save to protect yourself in emergencies, but invest to protect yourself from inflation and to build real financial freedom. People who understand this stop being afraid of market volatility and start embracing the reality that their money can work harder for them than any savings account ever could. And that's exactly what separates those who just get by from those who actually get ahead financially. One of the biggest problems people face when it comes to building wealth is not having a proven system to follow. They often jump from one financial idea to another, chasing the latest trend or copying what they see on social media without really understanding how it fits into their long-term goals. This lack of structure creates frustration because even though they are trying to save and invest, they don't see consistent results. Without a system, money management becomes random. Sometimes you save, sometimes you spend, sometimes you invest in something without research. And the outcome is usually the same: wasted time, wasted money, and no real growth. It's like trying to build a house without blueprints. You might put in a lot of effort, but without a clear framework, the end result is weak and unstable. The solution is having a system that takes the guesswork out of financial growth, something that works regardless of your income level or experience. This is why Financial Growth Academy teaches a step-by-step structure for building wealth. Instead of overwhelming you with 1,000 options, it simplifies the process into clear priorities. Control your expenses, build an emergency fund, automate your savings, invest in diversified assets, and keep repeating. By following a structured plan, you no longer waste energy on impulsive financial decisions. The system creates discipline for you, so even on days when you're not motivated or you feel unsure, the framework keeps your money moving in the right direction. A proven system acts like autopilot for your finances. It ensures progress even when you're not actively thinking about it. For example, consider someone like David. Before finding a system, he tried everything. He bought random stocks based on what coworkers recommended. He opened a high-interest savings account thinking it would make him rich, and he even tried dabbling in crypto during the hype. Each time, he felt excited at the beginning, but without a strategy, he either sold too soon, lost money, or left his cash sitting idle. After years of effort, he had nothing to show but frustration. When David enrolled in Financial Growth Academy, he learned a systematic approach. First, he tracked his expenses and cut unnecessary spending, freeing up $500 a month. He set up an emergency fund of 3 months' expenses, giving him peace of mind. Then he automated his investments into a broad index fund every single month without fail. In the beginning, the progress felt small, but after 2 years, his portfolio had grown substantially, his emergency fund was fully stocked, and his spending was under control. For the first time, David felt confident because his results were predictable and consistent. This story highlights why systems matter so much. Without one, you're vulnerable to emotional decisions, market trends, and inconsistent habits. With one, you're protected against randomness, and your progress compounds over time. A proven system doesn't just make you richer, it makes you calmer, more focused, and more resilient. Instead of wondering what to do with every paycheck, you already know where your money is going and how it's working for you. And that's the exact difference between people who stay stuck and those who see steady, reliable financial growth. The problem that stops so many people from building wealth is the belief that investing requires a huge amount of money to get started. They convince themselves that unless they have thousands of dollars sitting in the bank, there's no point in even trying. This mindset becomes a trap because while they wait to have enough money to invest, they lose out on valuable time, the one resource that actually matters most when it comes to compounding growth. The truth is, delaying even a few years can cost someone tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands over their lifetime. People also get caught up in the fear of making mistakes with small investments, so instead of putting their money to work, they let it sit idle in a savings account or, worse, spend it on things that bring no long-term value. The problem isn't lack of money, it's lack of understanding that small amounts consistently invested can turn into something life-changing. The solution is to flip the narrative and recognize that investing small amounts is not only possible, it's one of the most effective ways to build wealth. By using dollar-cost averaging, you don't need to time the market or wait for a perfect entry. You simply contribute what you can $50, $100, or $200 a month, and let consistency do the heavy lifting. With modern platforms and apps, there are no longer high barriers to entry. Fractional shares allow you to invest in companies like Apple or Amazon with just a few dollars. Index funds allow you to buy into entire markets without needing thousands upfront. The key is to start, no matter how small, and to keep going. The earlier you begin, the more time compounding has to multiply your money. Instead of thinking about investing as something only for the wealthy, you begin to see it as something that creates wealth for the consistent. For example, take two coworkers, Emily and James. Emily believes she doesn't have enough to invest. She decides to wait until she's earning more money and has at least $50 saved. James, on the other hand, starts with just $100 a month, even though he feels it's small. After 10 years, Emily finally decides to begin, putting in $50 at once and $200 a month thereafter. James, by contrast, has been contributing steadily for a decade, and thanks to compounding, his portfolio is now significantly ahead of Emily's, even though he started with less and contributed smaller amounts in the beginning. The difference isn't luck or higher income, it's time and consistency. Emily lost years waiting to feel ready, while James understood that readiness comes from starting small and growing along the way. This example shows why the idea of needing a lot of money to invest is a dangerous myth. Every dollar counts, especially when time is on your side. The earlier you start, the less you need to contribute overall to reach the same goal. Waiting feels safe, but it's actually the riskiest move you can make because you lose out on compounding, the very thing that builds wealth. By embracing the strategy of investing small amounts consistently, anyone, no matter their income level, can create a foundation for financial freedom. It's not about having thousands right now. It's about building the discipline to invest whatever you can and letting time and compounding do what they do best. One of the biggest reasons normal people struggle to build wealth is falling into common money traps that seem harmless in the moment but destroy financial progress over time. These traps are everywhere: credit card debt, lifestyle inflation, overspending on wants instead of needs, and getting caught up in the endless cycle of keeping up with others. The problem is that these behaviors don't feel dangerous at first. Swiping a credit card for a small purchase seems easy to pay off later. Upgrading your car or phone when you get a raise feels like a reward you deserve. But over time, these small decisions add up to large amounts of debt, missed opportunities to invest, and constant financial stress. Most people don't even realize they're stuck in a trap until it's too late, and they wonder why, despite working hard, they have nothing to show for it. The solution begins with identifying and breaking free from these traps by creating awareness and systems to avoid them. Credit card debt, for example, can be managed by switching to cash or debit until spending habits are under control, and then paying balances in full each month. Lifestyle inflation can be countered by committing to a percentage-based saving plan, such as saving 20% of every raise before increasing spending. Overspending can be controlled by tracking expenses and asking a simple question before every purchase. Is this bringing me closer to my goals or pulling me away? These small changes create barriers that stop you from falling into financial traps automatically. The key is building habits that make it harder to make bad decisions and easier to make good ones. Once you recognize the traps for what they are, silent wealth killers, you can start shifting your money toward assets that build your future instead of liabilities that drain it. Take the example of Jason, a 28-year-old professional who earned $60,000 a year. Each time Jason got a raise, he upgraded his lifestyle: nicer apartment, new car lease, more nights out. On top of that, he leaned heavily on his credit card, telling himself he'd pay it off next month. Within a few years, he was $15,000 in credit card debt and living paycheck to paycheck despite making more money than ever. His friend Melissa, on the other hand, made the same income but avoided these traps. Every time she got a raise, she automatically put half of it into investments and savings. She drove a reliable used car instead of leasing, and she tracked her expenses weekly. 5 years later, Jason was still drowning in debt, while Melissa had built an investment portfolio worth over $75,000. Both earned the same amount, but one fell into the traps and the other avoided them by making intentional choices. This shows just how powerful these common money traps can be. They don't just keep you broke, they actively erase your progress and make it harder to escape the cycle. The difference between staying stuck and moving forward isn't massive income or luck, it's learning to recognize the traps, setting up safeguards, and sticking to simple rules that protect your wealth. By refusing to fall into these pitfalls, you free up money, reduce stress, and finally start seeing the kind of financial growth that most people only dream about. The final problem many people face is not knowing where to start or how to take the first step in building wealth. They read countless articles, watch videos, and hear conflicting advice from friends or so-called experts, and all this information leads to paralysis. Instead of taking action, they spend months or even years researching, while their financial situation remains exactly the same. This lack of direction creates frustration because deep down they know they should be saving and investing, but they don't have a clear framework to follow. Without that clarity, they either procrastinate or make random moves that don't fit into a long-term plan. The result is wasted time, wasted money, and missed opportunities to grow. The solution is to adopt a simple, step-by-step framework that eliminates confusion and provides clarity on what to do first, second, and third. It starts with building a small emergency fund, enough to cover 3 to 6 months of living expenses. This creates stability and prevents you from falling back into debt when unexpected expenses arise. Next, you focus on paying down high-interest debt because nothing destroys wealth faster than interest rates on credit cards. Once that foundation is secure, you automate your savings and start investing consistently in diversified, low-cost assets like index funds. Over time, you add layers, increasing contributions as your income grows, exploring real estate or side hustles, and optimizing your tax strategy. This structured approach makes financial growth feel less overwhelming because you always know exactly what the next step is, and each step builds on the one before it. For example, think about Laura, who felt completely lost when it came to money. She had some savings, a bit of credit card debt, and no real plan. Every time she thought about investing, she got overwhelmed by conflicting advice and ended up doing nothing. When she finally decided to follow a framework, everything changed. She started by setting aside $5,000 in an emergency fund, which gave her peace of mind. She then attacked her $3,000 credit card balance aggressively until it was gone. With that debt eliminated, she redirected the money she had been using for payments into automated monthly contributions of $300 into a total market index fund. At first, the growth felt slow, but within 3 years, her investments had grown to nearly $15,000. On top of that, she continued to increase her contributions each time she got a raise. What once felt confusing and overwhelming now felt simple and empowering because she always knew what step to take next. This example highlights the power of having a clear framework. Instead of being stuck in analysis paralysis, you're guided by a roadmap that keeps you focused and consistent. You don't need to figure everything out at once. You just need to know the next step and commit to it. Over time, these steps compound into meaningful results. The difference between those who stay stuck and those who build wealth isn't access to secret knowledge. It's the willingness to follow a structured system and take action consistently. By following a clear framework, normal people can stop second, guessing themselves and start building wealth with confidence. So just to quickly recap, we talked about the mindset shift that separates wealth builders from spenders, why traditional saving keeps you broke, the proven system that actually works, how small investments lead to big results, the common money traps you need to avoid, and finally, the simple step-by-step framework to put it all into action. If you found this helpful, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and drop a comment below with the one change you're committing to start today. I'd love to hear it. And don't miss the next video where I'm breaking down the hidden money habit that millionaires use every day so you can see exactly how to apply them in your own life.